Hi everyone, the Abrams M1A2 SEP V2 modelling madness continues. Part 7? That might be wrong. The stuff I've done the last few days is, I'm going to get through this quickly so I don't all bore you to death. I've changed the angle of these lids. I put these boxes on. The side angle of this is ever so slightly different to the side angle of the trumpeter boxes. So these were leaning in a bit. It was driving me mad, so I chopped it all up. I've done a video of it and I'll show you what I did. These handles are great. I've just got a little teeny bit of detail where the padlock goes through, but they are from Special Ops models. They don't cost much money, but if you're in Great Britain at the minute, everything costs a fortune to import. Great. So I've done that, and they work really well. I put them on there as well, which just lifts it a little teeny bit. No, this is not going on. I just put it on for a bit of fun. Just see what it looks like to inspire. And it's like the rear bustle rack as well. That's not stuck on yet. So yeah, there's that. So the main thing I've changed, and I've worked mostly at, is the load attach and the horseshoe. This is really weird. When I put this on, it all fell apart. When I got it out of the bag from the trumpeter kit, it looked like I had mould on it. It's really weird. So I washed it off, and then I stuck it on with super glue, used some accelerator, and then this middle section just fell off. I've never seen that before. I don't think it was the accelerator. Anyway, so I put the bolt detail on here because I'd accidentally knocked some of it off, and I had to put 2 bolts on here, and the bolts would look completely different than these ones. It looked weird. These have to be moved from here to here. They're in the wrong place on the Heng kit. I could use the trumpeter top bits, but it means more work. It means chopping it all out and then sticking these on top. Whereas I just had to take these off, and I used plastic rod to fill the holes. So that's all done. That's correct now. This is the SEP ones. They don't have any of the details and stuff on the top of these because the idea they had was to use a crane to lift out the whole thing and change the ammunition that way, but it never came to fruition, so it never really got used. So I suppose in the upgrades, when they've done the SEP V2s, they've just deleted everything and just left the bumps because it was easier, because it'd be holes otherwise. I've just reinstalled that little teeny bit of detail with Meng's nuts. I don't know what I'd do without Meng nuts. Like I say, it's these things. They are just, you can get them from Creative Models in England. I'm not sure where else you can get them from, but they're just great. You just chop them off with a knife, and it's just so much more detailing that you can put on the model. Silly little things, isn't it? I've redone the world beads. I know they should be that way world beads and not across, but it's not going to any model shows. It's just for me, isn't it? So yeah. Oh, the other thing I was going to say was, the mud flaps at the front are doing what I said they would, and they are slowly sagging a bit more. And they'll do it over time and they'll look more correct. And I think it's just a cool little detail. I think this is the only Abrams with these. I think. That's it. So I've done handles, done that. For what I want to do next week is I want to put all the anti-slip on, which is why I'm cracking away with this, so I know where it all goes. I'm going to reinstall some trumpeter detail on the back of the turret. Also, I'm going to finish off the back here by putting the boxes on, cutting the grooves out here, putting the attachment point bolt detail things there, and the 2 hoops. I've redone the smoke box, but I haven't plumbed it all in yet, so I'll do a different video on that because I want to get it so it's coming out of here and here, nothing out of here. This is why this bit is painted black on the Abrams, because this is where it gets hot and all the smoke and stuff comes out when it does, and it's only when it starts up, so there's not a lot of smoke from it, but I just want to get it right. I'm going to replace all of the fuel caps and stuff with the trumpeter stuff because it's much more detailed. Yeah. Oh, and I got these aerials as well from T-Rex. They're really well detailed as well, to put them back on here. And then that will be done. And yeah, so that's about it really for today. So look, have a lovely rest of the day. And like I say, if you can afford the trumpeter kit as well, I know it's easy for me to say that, and it's, you know, at the minute we're living like moles. Every time the kids turn the light on, I start feeling their money coming out of my pocket. But, you know, hopefully things will calm down in the next 2 years. You never know. Yeah, so there's that. And so that's what we've done. And then I'll try and get the, also the lenses. If you can see, the lenses on the Challenger are still see-through, but they've got that coloration. And if it works again, I'll show you how I did it. And like I say, if you can get that trumpeter kit, I would, because it saves a lot of hassle. Most of the stuff on this Challenger I had to build by hand, and yeah, it was enjoyable, but if you can cheat, why not? The Warren Hudson lights at the back were quite good. They came on shake weights. The rest of the stuff on the back, I used the Heng Long parts and just made them better. Armoured models, excellent people for these two things. Yeah, so by the way, so if there would have been a trumpeter kit for the Challenger 2, I would have used it because it would save so much time. So there's that. And the other thing is, I'm going to give a little shout out to a chap called Barry C on RC Tank Warfare, because he's made the Abrams, and it's like clock making. Honestly, he's made it all out of brass. I think he's been doing it for the last 4 years. It's amazing. I've just got a Franken tank, so basically it's just messed up 2 kits. But Barry's is just mind blowing. I wish he would do some videos himself to show he did all the brass work, because it'd be interesting to know how he's done it. Anyway, look everyone, have a nice Saturday. I will get as much more of this done as I possibly can for next week. And yeah, thanks for watching, and and thanks for people who do subscribe. I would never ask people to subscribe. I think it's just a bit embarrassing, but if you do, that's really excellent. What I'd love to do is get enough subscribers so that I get a little bit of money coming in from this, and then because I'm self-employed, I could somehow get it so that I could claim back all my modelling materials on the tax man. Now that would be cool. Anyway, look, thanks fellas, have a lovely Saturday, and I will see you soon. Bye. Hi everyone. There was something that was bugging me massively. When I put these on, I should have been more patient, and I should have sanded this to the correct shape of the side of the Heng Long turret. This is the angle slightly different than the trumpeter one. So these were leaning in a bit, which is weird because the outside bits were straight because they fitted perfectly with this, which is straight. So I don't know if it's something to do with the trumpeter ones, and it's the same if you put it on the trumpeter kit. So I'm not sure, because I can't check now because I stuck them on. So what I've done is, and it looks a bit messy at the minute, is to get the lids level, because this is what is noticeable. I got my trusty Proxon with a very small cutting disc, and I cut round the side and the back lip and the front lip on both sides, so you can see. And so if you can see, I've done that, and then put some spacers in so that they are now level. It would have driven me absolutely bonkers. Every time I'd have looked at it, I'd go, that's not level. But it's level now. They might be a little bit too high, but the trumpeter side bins are a bit high actually. But to bring them down lower, you would then start encroaching on here. So these are taller. The trumpeter ones are taller than the Heng Long ones. I suppose if you wanted to fix that, what you could do is you could cut this off when it's not on the tank. So before you build this and put all the side frames on, which I got excited and put them, I shouldn't have done. You can chop the top off, then lower it, and then reinstate it all back together again. And then what I would do is I think it's about a millimetre I had to lift the bin lid, which suggests to me that the bottom needs to be sanded down by a millimetre, and gradually, so that you get the right angle of the side of the tank. There's a way of doing it as well, which is easier, which I should have done. I don't know why I didn't do it. I think I was just probably caught COVID again. I didn't know it. If you had COVID, give you brain fog. It's ridiculous. When I built that over Christmas, I literally couldn't work out how to read a ruler. It's very strange. I didn't realise I had COVID at the time. Anyway, I digress. So to get the right angle is if you stick sandpaper to the side of the turret, just a little teeny bit with a little teeny spot of super glue that you can remove, and then you sand the box at the right angle so it's flat on the sandpaper on the side of the turret, and it will give you the right angle on the box. Instead of trying to faff about and fit it on and take it off, fit it on, you just stick the sandpaper to what you're trying to sand it to, then sand the box so it lays flat on the sandpaper, and then it'll be exactly the right contour for the side of the tank. The only other way you can do it is to completely put a bit of plasticard on the side of the tank, and then sand that down to the right shape, but that's a bit of a faff. So anyway, it's level now, so what I'm going to do is fill it, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's all done. And I'll put a little fillet piece around the top to tidy it up, sort of thing. All right, thanks fellas. Right. I've done some filling, and I've used P40 car filler for the big gaps where it was a bit choppy, because this side didn't have a lip. It was just flat. So that's all cool. Where there was a lip, I'm just using normal old perfect plastic putty, which still works. So it just takes a bit more time to dry. But it's easier to get rid of. So I'm going to fill these little bits now with the perfect plastic. And then we'll go from there. Right, this is with it all filled. So Plastic Magic, perfect putty there, P40 car filler there because it's a bigger gap, should be stronger. They're now level. And I've taken these off because I bought these on eBay. They look very good. Cost an absolute fortune with import duty and everything else, but I should have made them myself, but it was just easier. Anyway, I'll take another film when I've sanded it all down and put the edging piece on and put those handles on. Hi everyone, and this is with the edging strip put on. It needs a little bit of tidying still, but I'll get around to it. So it just edges it. The boxes are a little bit high, but I think that's a trumpeter thing. I don't think that's anything else. And like I say, you can probably cut them down if they was off the tank and put them back on again. They seem to match up to the same place, they just seem to be a bit higher. So that's with it all sort of done. Oh, and these bits were, I had to elongate these because it came out a bit further because of the angle. Stupid me. But if you ever do anything like this, make the part up in plastic and then make a cut in it with a Dremel and then put a bit of wire in and then super glue that in the middle and then put glue around it, then you can just shape it back on again, that's fine. I did the same the other side. I used the plastic from the actual kit for that because there was enough from the other side and it should be fine. And when you put your first undercoat, you can see if it's a bit weird. So anyway, yes, that's it. Oh, and there's the handles. So I think they're nicely detailed, those handles. I think they're worth it. Anyway, I'll stick these 3 videos together and put them on the other one that I'm doing tomorrow. Thanks. Here's me using the Proxon to cut away the top of the box on just the 3 sides so that it can be lifted up and straightened. It looks a bit rough at the minute, but once it's filled and edged, it's fine. Here I'm using a small spirit level to make sure that it is level, and the fillet pieces are being put in. And if you can see there they are. The rest of that big gap, you would then use P40 car body filler to fill up because it's stronger. If you put tape down, the masking tape stops you getting car fillet everywhere. And you can do that on car repairs as well, it's useful. And you can take the tape up and it won't destroy the filling that you've done because it's already quite tough. It just stops it getting everywhere. So there's the tape being pulled up. Here it is with it sanded down, and it looks pretty much neater than it did. This is me taking the loader's machine gun mount off. You just use a trusty old flathead screwdriver and then just twist it and it pops off. There's 3 mounting holes that you need to remove with a Proxon again. 2 of them you have to replace with 2 little fillet pieces that you can see already there where those mounting parts are. There's got to be another 2 of the little rectangles. There's with the loader's hatch put back on again. It fits okay, it fits in the right size, it must be the right size. That's why I wonder why, or if Trumpeter and Heng Long have the same thing. Here's the 2 little fillet pieces that I put in once I'd stuck the main loader's machine gun mount onto the other parts, so you just slip it underneath. Here I am making the hole in the other side so I can put a pin through. It's too wobbly without doing this, because the trumpeter one is much, tighter fitting. So if you tape the hatch down to make sure it's in the right place when you're drilling the holes out. What I did then is I used some larger plastic tube that the pin that I made up of from the plastic rod fitted into. I need to open up just a little teeny bit, but it was a tight fit, which is good. So it means it should keep the hatch nice and still. And then it fits like that. You then place it in through the hatch with the plastic rod inside of the tube, and then you pull the rod back out a bit, cut it, and then push the rod back in again. This is the handles for the stowage bins. You just cut them off with a scalpel knife. It was really simple. I thought it would be a bit of a nightmare on resin. It would all break and they'd fall apart, but they didn't. They're very good. I'm just put them on there so you can see what they look like. Always mark out where you're putting them, and always use a punch to make the hole before you drill, because otherwise your drill might wander and then you spoil all your work. It's just a precaution. Here's a little bit of detail that I got rid of, which I reinstated from making it of plastic card, and good old Mr. Meng's nuts. Like I say, his nuts are very useful, Mr. Meng. I couldn't live without them. I've used them a lot in the Challenger as well. Here's me using my trusty old saws to chop off the top of the blast doors, because they're all in the wrong place to make it work. I filled the holes with plastic rod. This is the rod I normally use to fill up the screw holes that I don't want to use in the bodywork. I don't want to run, I've got to get some more actually. This is me lining up the tops of the blast door things, I don't know what they're for, onto the top, and making sure they're all nice and straight, because it'd be really obvious if they're not. And then this is how you fix the rod back onto the other side, by making a Dremel, the proxon, and cutting a groove in it once you've stuck it all together. And to make it stronger, you then put a bit of wire inside after you've done this, and then fill it up with super glue, and then you can sand it to the right shape, and then it's nice and strong. So it shouldn't break. It's like putting a pin through it, but it's an easy way of putting a pin through it rather than fiddling about getting it all in the right place. And just some pictures of the tank with everything stuck on. It's getting there. I hope I'm not boring you to death with this build, and thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it, and have a lovely Saturday.